Welcome to Emerging Ease, where we will focus on unraveling the difficulties in the midst of our journey and move toward forward progress. This program is not meant to replace any form of therapy, and you are encouraged to seek out a mental health professional if necessary. Hello. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to Emerging Ease with Keisha here on the Batchelor News Radio Network. Come on in and let's talk. Before we get started on our topic for today, I want to remind you that if you're interested in advertising, please feel free to email me at emergingease, all one word, at gmail.com. Also, if you miss a broadcast or you only get part of a broadcast, you want to go watch it, or you just want to rewatch it, feel free to go to thebatchelornews.airtime.pro to look at those. All right, let's get into today's topic, which is self-love, developing, supporting, and protecting it. One thing that I think is very important for all of us, regardless of our background, regardless of the experiences you've had in life, is identifying the importance of self-love. So many things that we do in life are impacted by either having it in an appropriate amount or not having it at all. So being at an appropriate level or being at a deficit. Now, with that being said, I'm always ready with a definition, so we're on the same page. When I say self-love, I mean a state where you accept who you are, where you are, and why you're there. Now, with that, let's look at also adding into that definition. Self-love is allowing yourself room to grow, allowing yourself room to make mistakes, allowing yourself the opportunity to grow from those mistakes. What can you learn from those mistakes? Also being at a place where you are open to allowing yourself to experience life on different levels, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Now, I'll give you an example of some things when I talk about self-love. As far as let's look at the spiritual part. Now, some people confuse spiritual and religion. Those two are separate. Spiritual is that, hey, whatever my belief system is about someone or something being bigger than me, and therefore I believe that they may have more power in the overall universe as well as in my life specifically. That's one way to kind of look at spirituality. Another thing is the connection you have to the people and the places and the things around you. That's another form of spirituality. It doesn't mean that you have to give reverence to any of those. It just means I acknowledge there's energy in those people, places, and things, and that we can exchange energy. Okay. Religion, on the other hand, does have a very small pullover from spirituality, in that yes, there is a bigger entity than me, which that is God or gods, depending on your belief system. And so therefore I do these things or follow these traditions to reverence that God or gods, depending on your religious beliefs. So with spirituality, an example would be, let's say you have a spiritual interaction growing up where your family says, hey, reverence the things that are around you, respect the earth, respect animals, respect others, and do that because that then gives you positive energy back. Okay. Now, the thing is, when you allow yourself to open up and grow past that and say, let me also listen to what another person's spiritual beliefs are. And what can I learn from those? Is there anything from that that I can take away that will help me grow? Okay. Either grow to do more or grow to respect where I'm at even more. It doesn't mean that you have to transition, change, anything like that. As far as mentally, really being open to be constructive in your thinking and not negative or destructive in your thinking, whether it's thinking towards self or thinking about the concept others present you or the thinking about other people. Okay. So, with this, one thing about self love is if your self love is in a healthier place, someone can express a thought or a concept to you and it does not offend you. You don't, well, why they tell me that? Well, what are they trying to say to me? Or what are they insinuating? It's the reading between the lines. You don't have that to compete against when you're listening to another person's ideas. You see them as just that. It's their ideas. Doesn't mean that they're true. It doesn't mean that they're false. Doesn't mean it's for you. Doesn't mean it's not for you. But you're willing to listen, willing to turn it over, look at it from different perspectives, and identify what can I glean from this. So if you've noticed in the past few weeks, I've always been um, wanting to let you guys know or to be mindful of, just as we talked about last week, mindfulness. What can you learn from the situations you're going through? What can you use from that situation that can make life different, improved for you? Okay. With that being said, when you're looking at what can improve life for me, you have to be willing and wanting, okay? Because we're all able to, but willing and wanting to look at things from different perspectives. Even the things that present as horrible overall, what can I learn from that? There's absolutely not one experience that we can't learn from, okay? Um, you just have to be able to be willing to and wanting to look at it from other perspectives. How can I take this hurt or this difficulty, even this positive thing that happened to me, this eustress, and then turn it to where it's something that can help me grow and then something I can help someone else with. So being mindful of that. So with self-love, um, what it means is being kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, there are various ways to be kind to yourself physically. Of course, we all know exercise, eating a decent diet so that you can get your all your vitamins and nutrients. But it's also self-care. And a few weeks ago, we talked about self-care and the importance of self-care, meaning giving yourself the opportunity to say, let me take a break. Let me go take a rest. Let me do something that pours into me because I've been pouring into so many people and I need to figure out a way to then recharge myself. That's what self-care is your recharge. So being kind to yourself physically, mentally, don't beat yourself up. Let's be honest, the world can do that all day, every day for free. And it never runs out of energy, right? So why then add to that? Do think things that lift you up. Uh, in one kind of piece that I always give when I'm speaking at an event or speaking to clients is when you're looking at your day, even those small wins, what are you doing with them? Are you saying, oh, that's something minor, and brush that to the side? Or do you celebrate? Do you say, heck yeah, I did it. I got to work today and the shoes I had on were the exact same. I didn't have on two different shoes. Celebrate it. I got up on time this morning. Matter of fact, I got up before my alarm clock went off. Celebrate things like that. Sometimes just starting the day is about the most difficult part of the day because we're anticipating so many things that could possibly happen, that may be planned, that could go wrong, all of that. So therefore, give yourself give yourself the want and the ability to celebrate yourself. Okay. um Taking care of yourself emotionally. In our emotions, because of the way our thoughts go, okay, because they're very closely connected, we can often experience shame and fear. And experiencing those two emotions can be very detrimental to a person. And with those two emotions being so detrimental, based on the way we think and the way we control those thoughts or respond to those thoughts, our emotions can be in a whirlwind. So let's also be mindful about when you're experiencing difficult emotions. Let's just say when you're experiencing emotions overall, period. Allow yourself the time to experience those emotions. The
Thank you for
irony is,
tuning in. I appreciate you for taking such a time as this to participate in your personal improvement with emerging ease. I'm Keisha, your host. Remember that in everything, there's an opportunity to learn and grow. If you are experiencing a difficult time,
okay, all right. So the one thing about emotions is that emotions honestly only last about 90 seconds, a minute and a half. The thing that keeps it going is the thoughts that happen that then continue to push and recycle and reinvigorate those emotions. Now, the positive part of this, which can have a downside, is that that thing can happen, that process can happen with positive emotions as well as with negative emotions. The thing is, if we're willing to do that with positive emotions, why not reinforce that cycle with the positive ones? So, therefore, that means you're thinking positively, you're having positive emotions, and therefore your interactions with others is probably going to be more positive, at least from your perspective. Okay. Now, when you allow yourself to use that tool, because it's a tool, to then reinforce negative thinking, resulting in negative emotions, coming out in negative interactions with others, then there can be a lot of self loathing that happens, a lot of distancing from others, a lot of just negative communication, even. So be mindful about what you're allowing your mind to do because you have total control over what you think, how you think. Also, that means you have total control over what you feel, how long you feel it, and what you choose to do with those emotions. Whether you choose to hold on to them and reinforce them and reinvent them, or have negative emotions and you choose to keep churning them around, churning them around. It's rumination, and we talked about that about 3 weeks ago, I believe. Um, when you're making decisions for yourself, allow yourself to talk to yourself about those difficult places in your life. Allow yourself to be open, honest, upfront about those difficult places. When you allow yourself to do that, you also allow yourself to release, for one, tension to any and everything that will communicate or reinforce negative thinking, as well as you get ahead of those negative emotions and you're able to cut them off as well. So being mindful about that. And the way that connects to your physical is that if you're not feeling anxious, you're not feeling depressed, you're not feeling lack of self worth, how much more energy do you have? Yeah. And you'll be more mindful about what you do with your energy as well. Um, ask for help. Asking for help is a form of self love. It's a way to develop it as well as support it and protect it. Not saying that you can't be Superman or Superwoman. Not saying that. But as I've said before, and I will continue to say, if you were meant to do it all, know it all, and have it all, you would be on this earth by yourself because there would be absolutely no reason for the rest of us to be here. The sheer fact that we're all on this earth together really means that wouldn't that represent we're all a team? We're all in the same boat. We're all, able to help each other, encourage each other, uplift each other. Just as if used incorrectly, those same things can be used as a negative to tear each other down, to work against each other. Okay. So be mindful that asking for help doesn't show a weakness. Actually, it's a strength to ask for help, because that means, for one, you're willing to trust someone else with the thing that's important to you. You're also willing to say, I know I cannot do it all. I don't want to try to do it all. I don't have the energy to do it all. So, to protect myself and to offer myself some care, self care, I'm going to ask for help. Now, the thing is, some of us will sit up and ask a person that has not shown us anything positive as far as they're inconsistent. They say they know how to do something, they have absolutely no idea what it is, what it looks like. Oh, yes, I can do that. I can do that. And then they tear it up, and then now you're frustrated, and then it's double work because now you have to go back and fix the thing that they didn't know how to do. Let's be mindful about the people we ask for help, okay? Ask someone that has a background in whatever you're asking about. Ask someone that has the heart to want to do it and the integrity to tell you, I know how to do this piece, I don't know how to do that piece. Okay. And if a person says they don't know how, there's no reason to say, well, what's the purpose of you being in my life? Maybe they've been able to cross your path because of something else. So being mindful about that. Another thing I want to look at is there it is, what self-love looks like. So we'll start there after we take a quick break. So I want to thank you again for tuning in to Emerging Ease with me, Keisha, here on the Batchelor News Radio Network. I want to remind you to tune in to Featured Album Friday, this Friday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The featured artist will be Boys to Men. I love them. I have a hilarious story about them. Um, Also, tune in to all of the love songs played during Whisper Softly every Sunday through Friday from 8 p.m. to midnight on the Batchelor News Radio Network.
Required listening with Amazon Music.
Dad music again?
The greatest guitarist of all time.
Wait, who?
Alexa, add this song to a new playlist.
Sure, what's the new playlist name?
Jack's Intro to Classic Rock.
Adding Stepping Stone by Jimi Hendrix to Jack's Intro to Classic Rock playlist.
Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you and soon he will love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, so I was just going to start talking about what self-love looks like. I've already kind of touched on those things, like, for one, being mindful of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual place, ways to improve those and to maintain those improvements, as well as continue to push to additional improvements. Another thing is spending time with people that you love. In the time that we're in I don't know if it's post-pandemic, the endemic, or in the middle of the demic, or it's an emic going on. And so we need to be mindful that I think this time has shown us that life is precious, time is precious, and you can't get it back. If not at any other time, but now we've seen that more and more and more. Spend time with those people you love. Matter of fact, do something out of the box. Some people you love and they don't even know it because you've never said it. And we always want to say, well, I show you my love because I do this, because I do this, because I do this. If that's not that person's love language, which we will address at some point again, what if that doesn't mean anything to them? What if they need to hear those words? Actually, what if they need a hug and you doing everything but giving a hug? You're doing everything but sitting and talking to them. You're doing everything but spending time with those people. Do those things. Allow that person to experience love the way they can receive it from you. Okay. If you don't have a lot of people you're close to, for instance, some people have difficult relationship with their family. That is not uncommon. Create you some family. Okay. Identify some people you trust. Start hanging out with them. Start doing things together. That can be your family. The blessing with people is that we don't have to stay stuck with toxic folks. We can always, always, always have the opportunity to build new, healthier relationships. Now, the thing is, when you do build those new, healthier relationships, make sure you're doing your part to maintain it. Okay. Um, Challenge yourself in everything you do to be a better person every single day. It doesn't have to be a big, huge challenge. I think sometimes when we think of the word challenge, we think of, oh, I got to be able to do, run 10 miles in 40 minutes and nonstop, full on sprint. And I got to be able to do all these, wonderful things. But a challenge is just that. It doesn't have to be huge or humongous, but just something that's going to cause you to be a little bit better than you were the day before. So, like, for instance, a challenge would be in the friends and family area. Shucks, find a new person to hang out with. Now, let's just be honest. It's so many negative influences, negative minded people, negative spirited people in the world. Be careful about who you choose. They'll show you who they are. So you're not rushing in and say, hey, I need a best friend today. Let me be best friends with you. But gradually get to know people, start to hang out with them, see what their value system is. Does it match up with yours? If it matches up with yours and you guys have things in common, y'all are probably going to get along really well. And that can become your family. Okay. I have a lot of friends that I consider, heck, my siblings and cousins and aunties and, other moms and other dads more than I do my family. Okay. And that's okay. Now, another thing that is awesome about self-love is it gives you permission to follow your desires and your goals. Now, with those desires and goals, some of us have been shamed about the things that you desire to do in life, about goals that you set for yourself in life. When you express self-love to you and you follow through on those goals, on those desires, you give yourself permission to say, I'm okay with what I want and with where I'm trying to go in life. And with me being okay with that, it allows me to experience a whole different side of me, not be fearful of what are other people going to say? What are other people going to think? I'm going to just be upfront with you. What's that got to do with you? And that's a question I want you to keep in the front of your mind every day. When someone wants to give you their opinion about your life, about your goals. Now, let me give a disclaimer. Now, if your goal is to go out and hurt a whole bunch of people and be negative or anything like that, okay, listen to that. It's constructive criticism. But know the difference between constructive criticism and someone trying to tear you down. Constructive criticism is going to say, this plan or this goal, in the way that you're trying to address it, there's another way to address it. Or this situation in your life that may be weighing on you. This is what's going on. But here's another perspective about it. Okay. It's going to constructive information, because I don't like to call it criticism because that sounds like two opposites. Constructive information is always going to allow you to get to the next step. Okay. It's going to allow you to move forward in some way, shape, or form. Not saying it's necessarily going to be easy to swallow, because with constructive information, it causes us to look in the mirror and look at ourselves and what we've believed about ourselves that may have been false, and the things we need to improve. Okay. Now, the thing is, when you start to follow your goals and your desires and you share those with people, why not share them with people that can help you get there, get to those goals and desires? I'm not going to sit and say, well, I have a financial goal to save $1 million in 2 years, and then go talk to a friend that's a zookeeper. How are you going to help me? You're over here tending the animals, and you may be able to tell me about, the progression of animal migration and all that stuff. But why would I not go find someone who's in banking or accounting or lending or any of those fields that actually deals with what my goal is? Okay. With the desire, if I desire to get into a different spiritual place, why would I not seek out different opportunities to experience different spiritual interactions, whether that be with people that look like me or people that don't look like me. Now, mind you, be careful with that, because that's also sometimes where people can be so open that they expose themselves to those negative people, or those people that have a need to want to skew or warp things. And it can be a very spiritual hurtful event. So be mindful about your interactions and your choice. When something doesn't feel right with your being, with your whole self, then that's a sign that, hey, maybe this is not what I need to do, either at all or even at least right now. Okay. So be mindful about that. Oh my goodness. Protecting self love means forgiving yourself for mistakes. Now, there's a difference between a mistake and a choice. A mistake is, hey, I did this. I wasn't thinking it was going to turn out like this. I don't like the outcome of it. I want to do something differently. A choice is, I know full well I've looked at what this could be. Matter of fact, I even have a negative intention that I'm trying to get across. And so I make the choice to do this activity, to interact with this person a certain way, to interact with myself in this certain way. And so, therefore, there's a difference in those two. And I want you to be very, very mindful when you're using those two words. They are not interchangeable. Okay. So, in mistakes in life, we all make mistakes because we're all imperfect. There's no such thing as perfect. That's one of those words I told y'all, go ahead and throw in the trash can, right? So, since we're all imperfect, we need to be mindful that we will make mistakes, and that's okay. That's how we grow sometimes. But forgive yourself for those mistakes. Oftentimes, there have been people that will sit and hold a mistake over their own heads for years on end, and it stagnates them. They're stuck. They become so stuck that they feel like there's no way out. I've missed every opportunity possible to come to me. I've messed up any way that I'm going to ever reach this goal or desire. And so I just have nothing. That's not true. You're still here on this side of the dirt. You have an opportunity at all times to do something different. That could mean you could change your whole career path. That could mean you could relocate yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. Okay. So be mindful of that. Don't stagnate yourself due to a mistake. Now, some signs that you are lacking in some areas of self love would be that you need so much reinforcement that you just are constantly reaching out for others to give you affirmation or reinforce that you are important. Self love, you already know you're important. I don't need you to tell me that. I know who I am. I got me. I know my value. Okay. Chaotic relationships is a sign that self love could be lacking. Now, be mindful. We're looking from the perspective of you, not the other person. A chaotic relationship is when that neediness is you're pulling so much on that person that they think, okay, so they want to go left. We go left. Well, as soon as we're going left, they're fussing because they want us to go right. So then they say, well, hey, let's go right. And then there's another upheaval. No, we should go straight. That's because that person that's pulling all of that, that's a person that's in need of control, which usually control of another person, seeking control of another person is really the need that you need to control yourself. So it's not that it's an abusive relationship. It's chaotic because it's all over the place. I love you today. I hate you tomorrow. I love you today. I hate you tomorrow. I'm here today. I'm gone tomorrow. All of that. So be mindful of that. Those are just a couple of signs that self-love is lacking. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for tuning in to Emerging Ease with me, Keisha, on the Batchelor News Radio Network. I hope today's discussion has been and will continue to be helpful to you in your life's journey. And remember, if you want to check out one of the rebroadcasts, go to thebatchelornews.airtime.pro. See y'all next week.
Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for taking such a time as this to participate in your personal improvement with emerging ease. I'm Keisha, your host. Remember that in everything, there's an opportunity to learn and grow. If you are experiencing a difficult time, please reach out to the National Crisis Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255. And I look forward to hearing from you next week on Emerging Ease with Keisha.